crunch, crunch, crunch. Welcome to the Wildseed Podcast. Cast.
This is your space captain speaking. Just a reminder to pack some teeny tiny snacks and maybe a silly little hat, because we're about to take a trip to the tippy top tip where the wild seeds grow.
So, Cher, I know we really love to spend all our time outdoors, and it's a little bit difficult for us to do that right now. So, what I want to do today with you is to do a little multi-sensory exercise so we can explore the outside, or at least the concept of outsideness, while we're here inside.
Oh, okay. Walk me through it, Mikey. I'm
Okay.
game for this.
Okay, let's go through a little intimate journey through these experiences by giving really rich descriptions of your favorite sights, sounds, tastes, smells, and feelings. So let's start with the nose. What is your favorite outside smell?
I really love the smell of flowers, so whenever I'm outside and I see a flower, I really put my face in it and smell it. And now, like, whenever I go on walks, everyone has to wear a mask, right? So I wear a mask, and I still see flowers everywhere, and I still have to know what they smell like. So I have to, like, surreptitiously remove my mask, smell the flower, and then put my mask back on. I just really love smelling flowers.
Which flower is your favorite scent?
One of my most favorite flower scents is Dama de Noche. I also like, well, Sampaguita is such a great smell. Calachuchi is a really, really nice smell. These are the flowers that I encounter a lot, so they're really something that is part of me, you know, especially Dama de Noche.
What does that smell like exactly? Are you able to describe it?
Oh, it smells like my Lola.
Aww.
Yeah, so I remember my grandmother whenever I get a whiff of Dama de Noche. And it's nice because I remember her. I think about her all the time, but I remember her every time I smell Dama de Noche.
Aww. And isn't it so cool that our sense of smell is powerful enough to trigger these really deep memories? I mean, to the point that you remember how your grandma smells, or at least what her essence smelled like.
Yeah, there's something, the receptors in the brain that are activated by smell, I think is the same area of the brain that deals with memory, something like that.
Yeah, you're so right. So our brain is actually our only sense organ that has this direct path to that part of the brain that processes our emotions and our memories, which is the amygdala. And then it goes on to the hippocampus, where memory is actually formed. So yeah, the nose knows.
What's your favorite outside smell, Mikey?
Mine is definitely the smell of mountain breeze.
Wow.
It's just a different kind of crispness in the air, and you get that waft of pine trees. It just enters your nose and brings
my
that
gosh.
freshness in your body, and it feels so good.
I'm imagining this mountain breeze and I'm already like, wow, I feel so good.
Right?
What are your favorite outside tastes?
Peeling a whole mango in the middle of the ocean and just eating it with my hands. Just letting the mango juice drip down my forearms and just eating it like a savage.
Like a wild
Like
seed.
a wild seed, exactly. I don't know, it makes the mango taste so much better when you eat it that way. And then you just wash your hands off in the ocean.
Sarap.
So sarap. Okay, what's your favorite outside taste, Cher?
My favorite outside taste is any food that I can eat while sitting on the grass under the sun. Just the fact that I'm eating it outside makes me so happy that it already elevates the whole experience. Yeah, and there's the the happiness that you feel to be outside, it just adds that extra like pizzazz to your meal, even if it's just ice cream or a sandwich. I don't know. I don't think I've ever eaten soup outside, but I would love to have some soup.
I've had some soup outside, and it was such a fantastic experience because I picked up a hot bowl of soup from Whole Foods and took it to the Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. And that feeling of drinking a warm soup on a chilly day, it's another wild seed experience, that's for sure. Because it feels like you're drinking up the moment that you're in and you're nourishing yourself with the deliciousness that you get from the soup and from your experience. Anyway, what is your favorite outside visual or view?
I was thinking of a sunset. I just love the colors of the sky, but I also love the moon and the brightness of the moon and the night sky. So I think the sky would be my favorite outside view. You also like the sky,
Yeah, I'm
Mikey?
definitely with you on that. There's something about the sky that makes you feel small, but it also makes you feel infinite because it's just, there's no end to it. It changes for us in the daytime and the nighttime, and we get these different landscapes that are all so marvelous. And it's like, wow, you're just left in awe watching it.
For sure. Like I love watching the clouds. It's really beautiful to look at clouds and the different shapes that they form. I love the cotton candy clouds. And I also love like wispy clouds. Oh my gosh.
Do you recall any cloud shape that has stuck in your memory?
There's a cloud formation that I will never not be connected to a memory that I have. There's this guy I was going out with before, and he always said that clouds that look like cotton balls were like the truest form of cloud. So now, whenever I see a cloud that looks like a cotton ball, I remember him.
I think I might have to agree with you on that visual because, these days we just have the luxury of time to cloud watch, and it's just so fun to see all the different shapes and imagine what these clouds are forming. And it just takes your imagination to a whole different dimension. I mean, they're like these cottony, soft marshmallow air vessels that show you a mirror of how you perceive the world and how far you can really stretch that time and space of perception into anything you want, really. Reality is in your control. It's wild. Okay, next one. What is your favorite outside sound?
The chirping of birds,
Mm,
because I love birds so much. There's this bird that chirps at home, and I don't know what type of bird it is. And it has this really distinct chirp and song that whenever I hear it, I am reminded of home. Listeners, are you ready?
yes. That's so lovely. I wonder what kind of bird it is. If anyone out there can identify it, please let us know. So, my favorite outside sound is definitely the sound of crashing waves. It's so calming and so powerful at the same time. And it's also so different when you're actually in the middle of those wave sets because sometimes you can hear it crashing over you, sometimes it crashes on you and just pummels you to the ground, but it's still very endearing. They're all great, all shapes and forms, just like clouds.
Exactly.
What is your favorite outside feeling?
My favorite outside feeling is being in front of a bonfire.
I love it. I don't know, there's just something about being so intimate with the elements that makes you feel so raw and so connected to everything. I mean, my personal favorite feeling is it's very specific. It's whenever I'm in Siargao and I'm on a motorbike and I'm driving down the road at a certain speed and you feel the wind just breeze through your face and you just take in all that ocean air. I don't know. It always just connects me to this really deep feeling that I am free, that I am always free, and I'm free to explore as I want to and experience life as I want to. So, I've actually been thinking about travel a lot lately, and I guess it's because we can't really do much of it right now. And as much as I'd love to be out exploring and traversing the world as I usually am, I've found a different way to explore the concept of travel, and that's by connecting to all my favorite outside memories and experiences and really using my senses to its fullest potential to unlock all those details. Like I'm actually in those moments, that I'm living in it and I'm actually experiencing the outside while I'm inside. You know, anything is possible. It's really about creating your own realities.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's the power of being present. Whenever you're present in any moment, you are aware and you take everything in because there's nothing distracting you from where you are, what you're doing. So your whole being is immersed in the now. So that after you are removed from the now, you're in the next now, and you look back, you can always access it because you were so there.
Yeah. I think that is the benefit then of always being present in whatever moment that you're in so that you can access it later on as vividly as you remember it, as you experienced it.
Yeah, it's actually a superpower too.
Oh man, speaking of superpowers, it reminds me of this one memory I have of meeting this guy, and he is just very poetic in the way that he lives because he's a writer for a living. You know, he writes novels and all of that. And we were sitting on the grass watching Toro y Moi live in concert, and he goes, "Do you know how you can take in this moment in all of its fullness?" And he goes on to teach me this method that I will never ever forget. And so, what you do is you close your eyes and you just stay there for a little bit. You take in all the smells and all the sounds that you can take in since you can't visually see what's happening around you. And then you take one big full inhale. And as you exhale, you open your eyes at the same time and at the same speed. And this just allows you to fully open up to the moment that you're in, and you're able to take in all the teeny tiny details of every taste, of every smell, of every sound, of every visual stimulation, and that just like puts it into a little treasure box, and you can access that whenever you want to, and it's there for you forever.
I'm gonna remember this exercise and I'm gonna use it next time I'm outside. And I just want to remember how shiny the sun was or how blue the sky was. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. I don't know why, but this exercise drew me back to a particular sensation memory of crushing dead leaves as I walked through a trail.
That's a great sound. It's very soothing in its own way. I also love the sound of crunching gravel under the feet, or,
Yes.
yeah, that crunchy sound is very satisfying.
It's funny because it's a sound that you can feel.
That's so true. Actually, just hearing the sound of the crunch, you already know how it feels. You don't even have to be the one doing the crunching.
What are some other outside memories that kind of bring the same feeling of like experiencing it in a multi-sensory way?
Being outside for me, like these days, the outside I see is always the same because we're just in one place and we can't really travel. But I guess that's also why I love the sky so much, because it's never exactly the same. What I love is really just being on grass, seeing trees, the sunlight filtering through the leaves of trees is one of my most favorite outside sights. It might be my actual favorite specific thing.
There's something about the outside that makes the experience different all the time, even if even if we're in this situation where we're experiencing the same experiences all the time, but not really, because the breeze is different that day, the sun may be warmer on certain days, the shadows are cast in all these intricate forms that are never the same. So it's all in the details. It's all about really, I guess, bringing full awareness to what you're sensing, because it's about that perspective too, that we're always given a completely different experience every time.
That's true. And I think it's also because, like, everything in the outside is beyond your control. The only thing that you can control in your reality is your own self. So anything beyond that, it's going to be basically it's random. And there's nothing that you can predict. And that's the adventure of it.
You are so right on that. It's a big lesson to learn too, that nothing outside of us is within our control. And it's also beautiful to understand that, because we then detach ourselves from trying to control what surrounds us and instead change the way we internally maybe interpret it or meet it or understand it. And that changes the relationship so much.
It's really so cool to look at things in this way. I mean, it's really practice. It's not like one day you wake up and you're like, oh, I remember, like, not everything is in my control, and most things are actually beyond my control. But the practice of awareness really helps keep that in mind and helps us with the way we interact with the world around us, which is the outside.
I don't know, when I go for walks outside, what I really like to notice is how my neighbors' trees and plants are growing and how they're changing. It's just so fun to watch, because you're like, oh, this little plant was just yay high like last month, and now it's, almost a tree or whatever.
That's so nice.
These little details it sparks something new in you, and you're able to greet something with much more awe. And I think that kind of helps your brain reconfigure itself every time, and it makes everything feel more fresh, and it allows you to experience things maybe for the first time again. It's that beginner's mindset, it's that first feeling high. I think that's the best part of learning, is being new to it, because you have so much more to learn and take in than someone who's been at it for years.
It's fresh.
But yeah, also speaking of outside, I also wanted to explore it in a way in relation to us as human beings, as individual identities, and what you feel about outside impressions, how people see you.
So this is a really interesting question and a good question to ask me, because I actually have this really funny thing where I don't know what I seem like on the outside. I have no sense of how I present myself to the outside world. How I look or maybe sound like. Now I kind of know. I actually not just kind of. Now I know what I sound like because I hear my voice all the time. And I actually asked a few friends what their initial impression of me was when they first met me, as
Okay,
an
okay.
exercise for this.
Please do share.
Yeah, so it was really interesting, the things that were shared with me. So I asked for just two words to make everything simpler, and I got words like majestic.
Wow.
Yeah. Free spirit is something that was said multiple times. Unconventional. I also got. There was another one that was really nice. Bubble of light. I was so
Oh,
happy
that's so
hearing
great.
that. Yeah. I was like,
Especially the word bubble.
yeah. And we were just talking about bubbles the other day. Someone also said hippie. So I guess if we put all of those words together, they're kind of describing the same thing. So I guess I'm the same always. It just the filter of each person's perspective just shifts the words a little, but all in all, it's the same meaning. It was fun.
I love majestic. I think majestic is my favorite out of all those words because it's like you're a majestic beast in the wild, that you
I
just
yeah.
caught out of nowhere.
Yeah, I love it too. It was so good. When I read it, it gave me such a boost.
Okay, but how do you feel about these words and how do you feel it compares or relates to how you see yourself?
I feel like they do describe me because I do feel free, and I mean the way I walk through life is in this way that I try to be as free and giving and just open as I can. I'm able to express myself through the way I move around in the world, which is nice. It's nice to know that the way I feel, the way I do things is actually being seen in the same way.
Yeah, that's a really great feeling because you know that things are aligned and the way that you see yourself is just being radiated out in the same way.
Yeah. It was nice actually. This was a fun exercise to do. So I'm glad you suggested it. Did you ask any of your friends the same question, Mikey?
Yeah, I asked a couple of friends, I mean, just a handful of them, and I agree with you on the fact that I do feel the same way I do inside as people see me on the outside, and it feels really, I guess, validating in a way, and it just makes me grateful to feel like myself in in both internal and external aspects. I got some words like free spirit also. Playful, dynamic, insightful, reliable, creative, alive. I think alive was my favorite one.
That's great. I also got vibrant, which I really like.
Ooh, yes. I think those words like vibrance and aliveness just talk about how you're so alive. You're so in this human
in in the
experience.
aliveness.
Yeah, I think the word alive means that you're awake and that you have like all senses completely open to soak in every last bit of this world and just completely own it and make it yours and maybe cradle it like a baby and hug it like a friend and also just release it back out and share that experience with everyone.
Yeah, that's the best. It's really great to be alive.
Thank you so much for tuning in. It feels like one big fat hug from all of you whenever you do. Remember, we have fresh new episodes coming out the oven every Tuesday on Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, Overcast, Apple, and wherever else you listen to your podcasts.
Thank you so much. We're really so happy to be on this wild seed ride with all of you. Pass on the love to the other wild seeds in your life. You can find us on Instagram at We Are Wild Seed. We're also on Facebook. You can also drop us an email. We super love receiving letters. Our email address is wildseedpod@gmail.com. Can't wait to see you guys again soon. Wild Seed!
Wildseed!